Black Beauty. The first place that I can remember well was a large pleasant meadow. It has a pond of clean water in it. Some shady trees leaned over the pond, and water lilies grew at the far end. Over the hedge on one side, I could see our master's house. While I was young, I lived upon my mother's milk, as I could not eat grass. In the daytime, I ran by her side, and at night I lay down close by her. When it was hot, we used to stand by the pond in the shade of trees. When it was cold, we had a nice warm shed at one end of the meadow. As soon as I was old enough to eat grass, my mother returned to her work, which was pulling our master's carriage. She used to go in the morning and come back in the evening. There were 6 young colts in the meadow besides me. One day, we were galloping all together round and round the field. While galloping, the colts were frequently biting and kicking each other. When my mother saw this, she called me and said, "I wish you to pay attention to what I am going to say to you. Your father has a great name in these parts. Your grandfather was a famous racehorse and your grandmother had a very sweet temper. And I think you have never seen me kick or bite. I hope you, too, will grow up gentle and good. Never learn bad ways. Always do your work with a spirit of goodwill. Never bite or kick, even in play. Lift your feet up well when you trot." I have never forgotten my mother's advice. I know she was a wise old mare, and our master loved her dearly. Our master was a kind and gentle person. He gave us good food and good lodging. He spoke to us as kindly as he did to his own children. When my mother saw him at the gate, she would neigh with joy and trot up to him. Our master would pat and stroke her. "Well, old pet," he would say, "how is your little darky?" Then he would give me a piece of bread which was very tasty. Sometimes he brought a big red carrot for my mother. My mother's name was Duchess, but he often called her Pet. I was dull black, so he called me Darky. As I grew up, my black coat became very fine, soft, and bright. When I was 4, my master broke me in. I felt very terrible when a thick piece of steel was pushed between my teeth and tongue and held fast by leather straps. As a further part of my training, I was put in a field with sheep and cows. This field was next to a railway line. I shall never forget the first train that ran by. I thought it dreadful, but the cows went on eating quietly. They didn't even raise their head as the frightful thing went roaring past. Eventually, I found that this terrible creature never came into the field or did me any harm. Since then, I am as without fear at a railway station as in my own stable. When I was about 5, I was sold to a man called Squire Gordon. My new master was as kind as the first one. There was a discussion between him and his wife as to what I should be called. 2 names, Ebony and Blackbird, were suggested. Then the wife thought of Black Beauty, and Squire Gordon liked it. Thus I was given my new name. Squire Gordon had 2 other horses, Ginger and Merrylegs. At first, Ginger didn't like me. She was a beautiful brown mare, but she used to bite and kick. The next day, when Ginger was out, Merrylegs said, "Don't be angry with Ginger. People were very cruel to her when she was young. They used to flog her. The unkind treatment gave her bad temper. But she works hard, and you will soon begin to like her." And Merrylegs was right. Soon, Ginger and I became good friends. We used to pull our master's carriage together. One day, My master harnessed me to his dog cart to take him to town. On our return trip, night had come and a storm had risen. I was terrified when a huge oak crashed right in front of us and blocked the road. We turned and went the other way along the riverside. We came to a narrow bridge, but when my feet touched the bridge, I felt sure there was something wrong. My master shouted to make me move. He used his whip also, but neither words nor whip could make me move. Then a man came out yelling that the bridge had given in the middle. I shall never forget my master's loving words of gratitude and the supper he gave me that night. Then came a sad day. Our mistress was taken seriously ill and had to go away to God's home. Our happy days with her and our kind master were over. Ginger and I were sent to live with a friend of our master. It was a very sad moment for us when we were handed over to our new coachman. Our master came round to pat and speak to us for the last time. His voice sounded very sad. I held my face close to him. That was all I could do to say goodbye, and then he was gone. I have never seen him since. Unfortunately, our new mistress was very different from Squire Gordon's wife. She was a very proud and thoughtless woman. She made life quite hard for us. We often thought of the loving Squire Gordon and his gentle wife, how much they cared for our comfort and happiness. But now, all that seemed a sweet dream that had ended forever.